Uncle Derek's here today!
Oh, you gave me a fright. Where is Mr. Halliday?
You tied him up downstairs. He's still downstairs tied up.
Two Dicks playing each other Saturday, Dick Campbell and that Dick Halliday, so I don't know where that is.
You were all kicking off earlier, wasn't it?
Supposedly Halliday was seen in Dick's office, wasn't he? Right, him and Pink.
Him and Pink,
right? Aye, great lads.
He's not left, is he?
Spoke about him last week, didn't we, Dick Campbell? Top man. What a result that is, isn't it?
Great result.
See, I thought Hearts would have went up and just steamrolled Arbroath.
Oh, you did a steamroller Arbroath.
You don't steamroller Dick Campbell's side, that's for sure.
I don't want to talk about championship today.
Nah,
move on. Come on, move on.
Talking about everything. Do we know?
By the way, what about the Double D?
Double D.
What is it? Show us the stand up and show us all.
Is it the Canadian tux? Is that
Canadian tuxedo, yeah.
It's nice.
Right, Kev, show us your Double D's now.
Can I just say something? I love the jacket, you know, and see when I saw it, Jaws takes me back to when I started playing, away back, 82, 83.
Don't know where this is going.
Tom Forsyth, Rangers, that was his nickname, Jaws. A man not to be messed with, by the way.
Did they bite?
Oh, aye. Bite, scratch,
bite?
kick, boot, punch. You're...
Do you bite?
Me? Nah, I don't bite anymore. I'm just...
No anymore?
Nah.
Do you like a bite?
A wee bit of respect to Big Tam Forsyth.
No, Big Tam Forsyth, Big Jaws.
That will be coming off, shouldn't win it?
Aye, Big Jaws will take that straight off me, won't he? Big Tam Forsyth. Don't mention that guy's name again, please.
Oh, what a hey,
no, a great guy. What a guy.
Aye. Stonehouse.
Oh, you need to say, Big Pierce at the bottom, your replacement Ben Shepherd, hopeless. Fucking pathetic, isn't he?
Pathetic.
We need to get you back on, big man. It's not the same.
Do you know what? I think the two of them are jealous of you. Because seeing you come in this morning, they've looked at the Nicky, because you are in good nick now, and you can see them.
Since he's came off that show, GMB, since he's came off it.
He looks brilliant.
He's sitting on that show every morning, Sahi and fucking Covey.
Yeah.
Up too early, big man, wasn't it? Up too early, Big
Fly
Pierce.
up every morning, Slaney.
Unbelievable.
Big Pierce.
He's dripping down my face, you know what I mean?
But I can't know why you've came off it, because Jim Jeffries is playing full time now at Livingston, isn't he? Both of them couldn't be full time.
He used that to get off it, didn't he?
Yeah,
Had to look after the big man.
Is the big man tired? Playing 90 minutes every week now, is he tired when he gets in, Kev?
Jet's unbelievable, isn't it?
What I've noticed, he's a bit arrogant now.
Hey,
Is he?
Aye. You've trained him well, aye.
Aye. Well, obviously I had to learn for the best, Slaney.
Correct.
Sitting here beside you every Monday.
Thank you very much, sir.
You know what I mean?
I tell you what, I feel a wee bit different when Mac is not here. I feel
energetic, innit?
you feel like you can actually talk?
Do you know what I know? I nickname him. You don't. I nickname him. He's a piston.
That was a great
Hear this, Paul.
Piston.
He's nicknaming Frank the Piston.
He's always thrusting away, isn't he? He's always.
I've noticed it was on the sheets.
He's always dry riding the team, aren't he?
I don't know for somebody. I think I made some under there. Didn't he? We'll make you check under there.
Imagine he had like a blow doll under there.
These tissues and all that under there.
Blocked the one.
Amazing. Right, Celtic and Rangers. Derek Ferguson, Rangers unbeaten league run continues. What did you make of the game?
I thought for long periods Celtic were the better side. They did dominate, they had the better chances. You look at Rangers, you they weren't at their best. You could maybe make excuses. You know, obviously Thursday night going out of Europe.
And you don't make the excuses.
Well, they took a toll on them, that's for sure. And then obviously the racism stuff that's went on. Because Aribo Kamara, certainly, and Saturday were very quiet. It was unlike them. But no, they hung in there, and obviously Morelos, you know, breaks his duck. You know, what is that, 13 games or something he hasn't scored against Celtic. So, but it's Rangers, it's what they've got in their locker at the minute. They maybe, certainly one of the better side on the day, but they come away with a result, you know, and they've done that throughout the season, you know, when they've hit a sticky patch. You know, they just seem to be able to steer themselves or negotiate a way to pick, not just 3 points up, but obviously on Sunday to get that point. So I thought it was a good watch as well.
Good game,
I did enjoy it. It was a wee bit of a slow start.
The first 10, 15 was pathetic.
What do you do when it's a sticky patch?
Oh, Simon, it's a fantastic question you've asked there. And you've certainly put me in a sticky patch at the moment. I certainly love him. But Simon, certainly on the game, first 10 minutes was pathetic.
Yeah.
I know for him, my goodness.
There's no tackles anymore, isn't it? It's so tactical, man.
You're not allowed to tackle.
It was really crap. The games then, we came into a decent enough game. Celtic were a better team. Similar to the last game, they're a better team, but it counts for nothing, Simon. The both boxes at the moment are the most important. If you don't defend, you concede. If you don't score, you'll not score. Do you know what I mean? So
Good.
That's good analysis, that.
but the chances, and what I'm saying is, there was a time when Celtic scored talking.
Big man.
Honestly, shocking analysis, isn't it?
No.
Brilliant.
Thanks. But what I'm saying is, there was a time in the game when Celtic scored the first goal, they were in top, and I think Rangers, I mean, you're on top, Simon, you need to make sure.
Stay on top.
Of correct, Simon, never ever roll out. But what I'm saying is, guys, you have to make that count. And they did. McGregor should have cut back to Edward. Poor vision. Edward, I think, passed to McGregor's feet. Almost a shot, but it was along the ground. You need to make that count. And then in the box, don't even let me get started in that crap defending, because, no, it's not even defending. Forget people in the post, right? I want something in the back post, but forget about it. Forget about zonal mark. If you look at players that's going to win the ball, you can forget about it.
But see, the thing is, I can forgive the first ball because Rangers are bigger than you.
Correct.
John Joe Kenny can't let Morelos get off him. He needs to be touch tight to Morelos. I see it all the time, especially with a guy like Morelos. Watch Aberdeen play Morelos. You just let him drift up. You need to watch Morelos at all times.
The most dangerous guy, exactly. the one that you want to keep an eye on. And but again, strikers will look at that and think, it's good movement. He's elusive and that. But see, going back to the Rangers, but see even the starting lineup, that was a surprise. Young Patterson,
Balogun.
And Balogun. Do you know Balogun's played there a couple of times, and I think even looking at him, I think he knows he's like a fish out of water. He's not comfortable there. And fair play to Celtic, but I thought they recognised that and they go at him and they exploited it. So I think I was screaming at the telly to get Patterson on at half time because the big fella didn't look at it. And even Hadji as well, I was surprised they never started with Arfield, that a bit more strength. And maybe Arfield in terms of knows what that fixture's all about. Yeah. Maybe with some of the other guys like Hadji, he doesn't kind of get that. But no, listen, it was, and what you were saying, it was a bit like the last game. Yeah, Celtic, over the course of the last two games, have been the better side. But they've only took one.
Lack of final ball and set piece defending, Kev, sums up the seasons, doesn't it?
Aye. I think what makes it worse than Saturday, the goal they conceded, was the fact that this has been a reoccurring thing the whole season with Celtic's defending. So surely you must be going into the games identifying on the training ground the Thursday, the Friday beforehand, right, this is what we've not been doing well. Let's get really drilled into why we're not picking up, why we're not watching. To me, Celtic are just ball watching. So when you see the camera angle where the corner comes in, Morelos is the one that's thinking, what ifs? Yeah. Nobody else is thinking, what ifs? What if this ball gets flicked here? I'll get in. No Celtic defenders thinking, right, okay, where's Morelos? They're just ball watching that one ball. And you would think that would be drilled into them, Simon, before the game on Saturday. Not just the game on Sunday there, the previous games, because that's where they're losing their goals. It's just, it's lazy, I would call it. I wouldn't think it's poor. It's just lazy. It's just no doing your job. And in terms of going forward, some of the final balls were good, but I think over the course and distance of the season with Celtic, and they haven't been at their free-flowing best consistently every week. See if Edward's scoring every other week and scoring 25, 30 goals, that chance that Forrest puts in across the face of the goal with 5 minutes to go, he's already there and he's tapping that in, whereas what he's doing is, because he's maybe not as sharp and as confident as what he has been in previous seasons, he's maybe thinking, it might come, it might not come, whereas the old Edward would have thought, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from it.
He was caviar yesterday in the first half, wasn't he?
When we talk about quality, he was unbelievable yesterday.
First half.
Like, in terms of all-round game, his hold-up was great, his movement, his awareness. And don't get me wrong, his awareness is, he has to rely on others to think like him. The 1-2s, the overs, the round the corners and that. It was amazing, but it was just a shame that, like I say, first 10 minutes was really hard to watch, but once Celtic got into it, the two teams performed. But every time Rangers got forward, and the few times that they did, to me, Celtic looked nervy. I thought that if they could have strung a few different passes together, Rangers might have got in.
I tell you where I thought Celtic were good, Kev. They're talking about second balls. You're talking about in the box that
Brown
they
was
were
on
poor.
at the time,
but in the midfield area, they were
that's
quicker. They were getting the second balls, and it's a big thing getting possession of that ball.
That's what gave Celtic the platform to dominate the game in terms of possession, whereas Rangers were just that yard off it. Whether that's the effort they put in the season, whether it's the European game, or whether it's just been everything that's surrounded this week's events on and off the park.
People can sometimes think of, they're not trying, man, you've got to be quicker, sharper, but it's that anticipation, and you're just saying like Morelos, how he's thinking, I think it's going to go there. That's anticipation, and I think that's what Celtic midfield were a wee bit better than Rangers at then.
Yep.
They were going, recognising, think, I know where that ball's going. Boom, they were away, they were on possession of the ball.
You had to win. Celtic had to win. That yesterday's as good as a win for Rangers, that unbeaten season. That's what a draw's as good as a win at that.
I need to ask you to Paul, the penalty. Obviously, you got wee Willie up, you got him changed, you got him fed, even dropped him off.
And he was a bit locked up, Simon, at first.
What, he was what?
A bit locked up when he first came up, aye. So we had to feed him stuff and all that to get him going. Then when he came
and then he goes and does that to you?
Yeah, he does that, but we spoke to him last night.
Oh, so you still let him back in the house?
Sorry, this morning. We put him in, he was in last night. Forget about it.
Was it a penalty, Paul?
I've not done this in a long time, Simon. YES. Yes, certainly a penalty all day long. If I come up to you and try to punch you right in the face and you move it away, does that make me any better person? No, it doesn't. Sorry, Derek. But certainly, I believe it's the rule. I believe it is the rule.
Have you checked up on the rules, or you just...
Aye, no one told me. Wally was whispering at the room last night. I said, get your bed. I said, well, get your bed. Right, but the rule is, you've impeded the person's run. He had to move it the way. If he doesn't do that, then he's by him. So, listen, did Edward take a tumble to the ground? Did I need to? Yes, but before that, the instant that happened before that, he had to step away. It is if you're a manager watching Balogun doing that, after his performance the other night, and you're watching him jumping in like that, I don't know.
How do you think he was bad at that?
Was it Balogun or Barisic?
No, it was Barisic.
Was it? Oh, that's that whole bit done. That's that whole bit finished.
Do you know that actually, I can't sit on the fence. I could see if a penalty was given. You know,
you'd understand the same because there's no contact. But
but then I can see why it wasn't given. It's one of them because right away your first reaction, and I'm just went, oh, dear me. I actually thought that's a penalty, because it's one thing you don't do as a defender. You don't lunge, you know, in there. You leave yourself open.
We've seen times when goalkeepers, when centre forwards have been played through and they touch it past the keeper, and the keeper might have touched him, but they've impeded their run, and they get the penalty. So for me, there's a similarity to that type of thing. But ultimately, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Had the Edward of the goal scoring season before being taught, he'd have took that first time and would never have been a question.
I don't know. I think Edward would have done it.
I think he would have took that first time, Simon. I think he was oozing massive confidence yesterday, and I think he just wanted to be clever, take a touch. And I don't think he's dived. I think he's anticipating the touch, and because he hasn't received because he hasn't received the contact, it's more of a surprise, I think. But it could have been given either way, and I don't think there would be a great argument either way.
What did you do with his whistle when you put him to his bed?
He was in a great position, Wally, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh, he's always in a great position. He was in a great position.
I get him used to that. I get him in a good positions and he's ready for that. No, I mean talking to him before and that's one thing. Listen, you'll never fault William for in his good position, Simon. Certainly not. Sorry, boys.
Well, great, but see, obviously you must watch obviously the podcast back. You know, I've got me thinking about Maka. You know why he's always like that. You know, it must be a position that he likes, isn't it?
But I need to say, why did Celtic not go for it to try and get the win?
No, Simon, that's what's frustrating. I think the last half an hour just
petered out.
Great, fantastic word, Simon. Petered out, and that was the most frustrating thing, Simon. As I said, that year Rangers have come back after a real tough European night. They're going to Celtic Park as much as they of course they want to win, but they're going there to not get beat. Celtic had to commit the traps flying and make sure they steamrolled Rangers. If Rangers were maybe fatigued for the few nights before, and they were a better team, but in the last half an hour it was almost like you may as well pick the bottom and stop the game early because it was just petered out, Simon. I should have just left when you said that.
What do you think? Do you think that enhances Kennedy's chances of getting the job?
I think I certainly think it's de-hances his chances.
Oh, is that a word? De-hands?
I don't know. You need to
look it up. De-hansed. Right on, you keep talking.
Well, I just think, listen, I'm a big fan of John Kennedy, but if this is your chance to shine, you've drew v Dundee United a must win. You've then drew yesterday. So, listen, I don't know.
Paul, you being a Celtic fan,
thanks very much.
If John Kennedy had made subs with half an hour to go and brought on Forrest, brought on Griffiths and been a bit more attacking and said, right boys, let's just go and try and get the win. And at the end of the game, say Rangers nick a goal, they win 2-1. Would you rather John Kennedy come out in the after interview and say, well, we've come here and we've tried, but we've not came here. We've here the day and we've tried to win the game. As a Celtic fan, you'd probably say, aye, fair dues, because you are trying to stop your greatest rival from going unbeaten and repeating what you did all those years ago. But for me, it was as if it got to a point in the game where everybody could see it was flat.
Yeah.
But the subs were too late, giving Lee Griffiths 2 minutes.
But Kev, I don't care if you're playing Rangers at home, Hamilton at home, or Juventus at home. You're 1 each and you're Celtic manager.
Of course
30
you are.
minutes to try and win the game of football.
Of course.
Regardless of what other
The first
teams'
60 minutes,
record
you've
is.
got to be thinking after the first 45, coming in at half-time thinking, my God, this game's here for us to be taking today. And after 15 minutes into the second half, you've got to be thinking, right, I maybe need to just freshen this up a wee bit. But
see, even when you're chasing a goal, keep all the guys that can either create a goal or score a goal on. Why again take Turnbull off and leave
Turnbull maybe wasn't as quiet was a bit quiet in terms of the things he does in the middle of the park with the ball. But see his free kicks and his set pieces.
Exactly.
The corners, I've never seen Rangers be so much under pressure from set pieces with corners in a long time, because Rangers are quite dominant when it comes to corners, but he was on the money with them. I thought
it's always about the delivery, wasn't it? See, the reason I posed that question, because it was I think he used in the interview after the game, he says, we're almost there. And when he said that, almost is no good enough. It's like a nearly man, isn't it? You nearly get there.
Nearly never
and he
won
used
the
that
race.
word, and that's the word that stuck him. Sure, I don't know, I'd need to look back at it. And that's the thing, almost, but Celtic don't do
Well, nearly in the
almost
last month of the season, you can't be almost there.
Almost there.
That's how they be the start of the season.
Do you know what? It was just something that stuck in my brain. I've got a brain.
Yeah, I've sure been brilliant.
Great scenes, Scott Brown, Glenn Kamara.
By
That's
the
what
way,
we want to see in it.
What a
Shows the
touch
jumper.
What,
the jumper up.
by the way,
Love that.
I mean, I obviously do a lot of work with show racism, a red card in the schools and workplaces, and just before, you know, I mean, the rivalry, and it's just before you're getting into the heat of the battle, you know, I just thought it was a lovely touch. I was just sitting on the couch with my old man watching it, and do you know something, just you tip your hat to him, you know, Brown to do that, you know, so excellent to see the Celtic captain doing that. You know, that means a lot.
The class touch. It was lovely. See, walking at the Rangers half, his hat must have been absolutely pounding down something.
Just it was a lovely
And then
touch.
Derek, last night you seen everybody sharing it, and that's the whole point.
You know, we used to go out and kick lumps at each other.
Yeah.
But then maybe in that Saturday night, you know, it was a Saturday game back in the day, we'd been in the same nightclubs, having a beer, having a laugh, you know, and I think that was a lovely touch. So it was well done.
Can't believe racism's still such a big thing in this day and age, Kevin.
It's just...
What's wrong with people?
I think Derek probably is best to answer these questions, but it's just uneducated people, Simon. It's what it is. It's
Morons.
But Kev, what we're doing,
Morons, Paul,
certainly,
correct.
we're trying to
Morons.
get our house in order in this country. We're doing, not just with show racism, a red card, even the football clubs and the academies. It's not just about them being a better football player, it's about them being a better person.
Yes.
What I can't understand is that some individual from another, like they'll talk about the Slavia Prague, they think that that's okay to come and treat another human being
disgusting.
just because of the colour of your skin. Like, we're all the same. It's just pointless. And for me, it's just a lack of respect. It's being uneducated as a kid, because I grew up and my dad would never put into me to treat anybody any different in the way that I would like to be treated. And I think that's the same. It's just really disappointing, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know Glenn Kamara, but by all accounts, Glenn Kamara seems to be one of the nicest guys that everybody's... So when that's your teammate or a friend feeling that, I don't know, I feel sorry for the guy.
Peter's teammates need to start speaking up.
See, do you know
what?
what? I get quite emotional. See, when I saw the footage, Gerrard giving them a cuddle, and you could see him actually putting his head in. With what happened on that football park, I'm quite sure in the past that maybe Glenn and maybe some of the other black players playing in Rangers have been racially abused. And what it does is, and people say, it's just words don't hurt. Words, they hurt. And it just shows you, and that might have just brought all those memories flooding back. And what you're saying, I played with, not just in Scotland, but in England with black football players, and it affected me. That's why I work with show racism and red card, because I hate to see people getting bullied, treated differently just because of something like that. So we are doing as much as we can. Are we ever going to get rid of it? I'm not so sure. But I'll go back to the days when I was playing. There was large sections in every football ground in Scotland and in England when I went down to play with Sunderland, Gary Bennett, Don Goodman, where they would be getting all this abuse. It's still there, but it's coming from individuals now. You know, so it has got better.
The social media's made it worse again, isn't it?
What's that?
Social media.
Social media as well.
It's gave as we say, the morons a platform to write this stuff. I think the individual player the other day who done it, I think you've got to ban him forget fines. It means nothing.
No.
A lot of nonsense. I think you've got to ban him for a long, long time. Now, when it comes to the team, Simon, right? See, I think this team, is it Slavia Prague?
Yeah.
I think they have had previous with their support as well. Then you need to come down hard with them.
Yeah.
But certainly, if an individual's doing it, forget fining them, ban them for a long, long time and get them out the game.
By the way, you're absolutely bang on. That's the only way. UEFA, everybody's looking at UEFA now. Come on, do something, do the right thing. Ban the guy.
No 6 months.
See Slavia Prague, put them out the tournament. Let Arsenal go into the semi-finals. Arsenal should be in the semis.
You were tempted to say put Rangers back in, weren't you?
No, Rangers. No, listen, and Gerrard was brilliant because in a football sense, we were well beaten out of the two legs. They were the better side. We acknowledge that. But what we acknowledge is that shouldn't be happening. It's disgusting. UEFA, do something about it. Ban the boy, right? Ban him for a year, but put Slavia Prague out of the competition, put Arsenal into the semi-finals. That'll send a message out.
Why haven't they done that so far, though?
I don't,
even the fines that people get for racism are
fines not going to do anything.
That's the thing. The punishment never fits the crime, unfortunately, in football. It's like Slaney's nailed it on the head. It's a bit like, how do we stop diving in simulation? Well, they don't get punished enough, really. Whereas if you set a precedent and say, right, wait a minute, you dive, you get caught diving, it's proven you're banned for 5 games. That'll soon stop people diving. It's the same with this race thing. You get caught racially abusing a fellow professional or something within football, you're banned for 3 years. So soon think twice about doing it.
Bang on the money.
Because I understand in life, you've got to, for every crime you commit, there's always a rehabilitation. So somebody who's racially abused somebody, you've got to try and rehabilitate, and you've got to educate, and you've got to make them understand that how not to do that again in the future, make them learn. So you can't ban them for life with it. You've got to give them some sort of pathway back into it, but give them a ban that makes it worthwhile to everybody else that you think, you cannot say that.
That is what we say, because, just to touch on that, Kev, because you spoke brilliantly there, because what we recognise, it shows racism a red card, that people do make a mistake. You generally make them, right? And what we do, this is why I go in with other guys, the guys that are the educational team, and we work with them, because I believe that you should get a second chance. But you've just said it, there's a history with Slavia Prague, and we're getting sick and fed up. Players know that it's a no-go area. So it's time for them to make a statement, and that should be the same. Ban them and put them out the tournament.
Lads, very proud of you. That was excellent. But can I just say, you speak me a sense about that and you do about fucking football, so
Simon, see in life, we all get frustrated and angry with things. It's part of life, right? If you go to Luis Suarez, when he gets really angry, he starts biting people. Right, he's done it 2 or 3 times in the past. He's been caught for it. This guy's got annoyed and angry, and his way of dealing with that was to be racist towards a fellow professional. It's just needs to. It's not an excuse, but it needs a harder punishment to fit the crime, because it's.
And we're talking about a 33-year-old man that had time. He thought about his actions.
Derek, I would like to understand what his
upbringing,
black players and his teammates or mixed race, whatever background they're from, what they're thinking, because. This isn't some guy that's come off the park and made up a story and said, oh, he called me this, and this. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Kev, see all this nonsense about, we're going to go to UEFA now, there's going to be a big investigation, it'll take months and months. Just ban him.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just do it now.
That's it.
Aye.
Simple.
Okay, what did you make of this second leg defeat? They turned up their game, Slavia Prague.
Aye, they're a good side. I think they're aggressive, they were physical. They could play.
Had more one way than playing, didn't they?
They could do a wee bit of everything. I think that's why I kind of worried about the getting back to Ibrox. I think a lot of fans thought it was just going to be, one outcome and Rangers marching through. But I think they just showed that they are a good side. But listen, that's in a football sense. That's what we just spoke about. I think Steven Gerrard handled it brilliantly, because they were the better side. They're the 2 legs, and they deserve to go through.
See on Steven Gerrard, I had a lot of people saying he picked the wrong team. No, I disagree with that.
Oh, do you, right?
And the reason I say that is the big boy Balogun. If you're preparing for the game and they're a good counter-attacking team, you look at Balogun and go pace, right? Where I think Gerrard got it wrong was no taking him off at half-time. He was a bomb scare that first half. He get booked early on. He should have gave a penalty away. It was very close to a penalty.
There was a penalty.
Aye. Just in the back seat.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
Aye. And I think he should have took him off at half time and put Helander on. That's where I do think he got it wrong. But I think it might be the best thing for Rangers to know when they go into Europe next season. They might need to strengthen. because they're a wee bit short of that mark at the moment, Simon.
I was really surprised that he didn't start with Hollander. See, when I looked at Hollander earlier on in the season, I thought, I'm not saying he's lightning quick, but he's no slow.
He gets into positions where he doesn't need to be lightning quick.
But also, I mean, that mobility, I think he's more mobile and quicker than I first gave him due.
But what he does, Derek, is what he says in the tin. He's a defender, and he defends well. He understands. He's maybe not the fastest, so like Simon says, he puts himself in positions. But there's nothing fancy with him. Everything's just straightforward. If it needs to get long, he goes it long. If it needs to go to the boys that can do it goes into them. He's got a very good understanding. Whereas sometimes players in defence, if you look at Ajer yesterday had a great game, he played really well, but sometimes he does too much and gets himself caught, whereas Hollander just knows what he does and Gerrard knows what he's getting from him.
See, when it got to half-time, and I was looking at the game and I'm thinking they were struggling because they were really well organised, and they were hard to break down. And I thought, if Rangers wanted to go to the next level and progress, they need a top defender, but somebody that can come out for the back and start to play those boys. I mean, Ajer does it a bit with Celtic.
Prague were leaving Balogun on it to come out and
play.
They?
So what you need is, he tried it a couple of times the second half, but his use of the ball wasn't that great. So that's where you look at, that is somewhere to improve. Can Rangers bring in a defender, that can first and foremost defend, but can also, get into those areas and play the wee
Did it be
passes.
surprised how far off Rangers were to the game? They barely strung about 4 passes together.
I think that's
they'll be disappointed.
I think that was down to them.
Slavia were good.
Worked their socks off, didn't they? And you don't normally see that with the foreign teams. They
pressed really well as well, didn't they?
That's sometimes they'll sit off, but their work ethic was, I'm going to go up against my opponent and I'm going to work you. And it kind of.
And just on that, Derek, how bad do you think Stevie Craigan was in the commentary?
How many times
about Stephen?
Alec Ray say his name? Stephen.
Wow.
He says it constantly, doesn't he?
Goodness me. If I thought I had a bad night in Europe, fuck me. What
that was one of the best nights in Europe.
Personally,
because of Rangers' performance, the winner of the league, automatic qualification to the Champions League. Next year's very important to win the league, innit? For both Celtic and Rangers.
Amazing.
If there's a time we've talked about maybe Celtic needing a rebuild and Rangers will strengthen, is this the summer where the money gets spent? Because the reward at the end of this one is going to claw it back for you.
Of course, aye.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get 6 Champions League games. Potentially by the time that comes round, the world will hopefully be back to some normality. There'll be fans back in, there'll be money, the TV money, the fans, everything.
Much is that worth a game?
It's
crazy money in it.
What, Champions League?
Per game, being in the Champions League per game.
I got 300k v Benfica.
You'd love what?
300k against Benfica on the bench.
You did?
A split between the team.
How much did you get, bro?
60k.
60k, bro. What'd you do it?
Alright. Yes, I was going to say there about. I think people's going a bit much for Celtic the rebuild. I don't think they do need a rebuild. And you look at the league table, you say, of course they do, but
the performances yesterday. And
you look at, I think Celtic will never have a season as bad as this again. You're not going to be dropping that many points again. And if you still look at the team that's going to be there next season, you look at Forrest, Turnbull and stuff. McGregor, still a top quality side. And I think
Brown showed yesterday he could probably still play that.
They've got to keep him, certainly, Simon. Listen, Celtic shouldn't be, but I think Celtic will get back to normal.
I think there's much in the players, isn't it? I think this year Rangers have just been that wee bit more organised and better in both boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, they've showed they've been better over the course of the season. I know it's like, but they certainly need to. For me, Celtic, they need a top goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And they need to sort, because the boy Kenny goes back, he's in loan, Lack's out, so you need.
The thing is with them too, I was thinking about this last week when I said that we need a rebuild, I need this and this, and after obviously watching the game yesterday, Laxalt was good and Kenny was all right. You could replace Kenny quite comfortably, I think.
You're not paying £9 million for Kenny.
Laxalt, you could probably get somebody into like cover that job, no bother. Brown's shown he could do a job. Julian's going to come back in. I think your biggest problem is somebody might come for Ajer and somebody might come for Edward. I think you need to try and keep them two.
I think they'll be away, Kev.
Think so?
Ajer and Edward.
Aye. I thought Ajer yesterday, that's probably one of the best games I've seen him in a Celtic jersey. I thought he was quite...
See, I don't know if I'm just being harsh on Ajer. I prefer Welsh as a defender. I get what you're saying. Ajer's very good at taking it, but see Welsh yesterday, mate, not 1 foot wrong. His man doesn't handle the ball.
But do you not think yesterday Welsh didn't have, like, Rangers, because Rangers won the dominant, I don't feel like he was under much pressure throughout the game. I thought it was quite a straightforward game for him.
There was one game, I think he does I've never seen him put a foot wrong, Well.
I'm not saying he's not played well, because he has done. I'm just obviously looking at like yesterday, had Rangers been on the front foot, how would it have been? It might have been different. I don't know. I just think that Celtic do need obviously a few, because if they send the loan players back and they get people to place them, they're still going to need strength and depth, because the season they're going to have better cover than what they've had.
What Welsh needs is just games. Experience games, and that's because he's like obviously there because he is a talented boy, you know, and I think he does defend, but it's just like the boy Patterson at Rangers. He'll need, will he get the games? That's another issue.
I thought he'd done good when he came on.
I like Patterson. He's got pace to burn, but just like these guys, they need games to improve, to bed themselves in, so that they feel comfortable. But I like Welsh.
Where are we on Celtic's managerial appointment? Any new ideas, Paul, Kev?
Martin O'Neill was touting keen.
By the way, Martin O'Neill was all over Fadden Boyd.
I couldn't hear it. The volume was down on the telly. Was he good?
He was all over them.
Loved his coat. Looked brilliant, didn't he?
They gave Boyd
my Godfather.
He caned Faddy a bit.
What was he doing?
Wasn't he good enough? I heard something. He just
wasn't he good enough at Sunderland? This is what
And then he went to see the man with the penalty.
What did Faddy say?
No, see the penalty one. The Fadden boys said it was a penalty, and Martin went, well, maybe when you started your career, Fadden, when you were good, you'd have stayed up scoring that. But certainly when you were bad your last 10 years or something like that. And Fadden just laughed. And I loved it. No, I certainly did love it when he gave it.
But see, even the director of football job, why does it need to be a geek? A guy that's never. Why can it not be like an ex-player or an ex-manager like a Martin O'Neill? See, Bayern Munich, they've got Rummenigge, am I right?
Aye.
Why certainly not go something like that?
What they actually know, I said something a few weeks ago, and then I don't know what they actually do. What is their job?
Who, director of football?
Aye.
So I think they so see Rummenigge, he picks everything at Bayern Munich. He picks the coach, physios, youth team coaches, everything.
So it needs to be a football brain then.
A football brain, that's what I think.
A lot of European sides have ex-footballers in, but whereas here in our country and obviously down in England, a lot of them are just maybe educated people who have a different background but know how to run an organisation.
See the ones that have been mentioned, Kev, so it's like David Webb. How can he be more qualified to say who's good enough to play for Celtic than what Martin O'Neill or something like that is?
Well, we'll go back to the Jet. Right?
The Jet.
The Jet's in at Hearts, right? And I spoke to Jim obviously when he came for his tea all night there, and I said to him, I says, how is the role? And he just basically, Anne's a businesswoman, right, at Hearts, and she knows how to, but she doesn't know the football side of it. So she trusts Jim to do the football side of things. So Jim's gone in there and saying, right, Anne, we don't need this. Hearts had a position for what was it called? A reserve. A loan manager. A loans manager. So all the players that were out on loan, Hearts had a manager for them. So when the manager wanted to know how they were getting on it in loan, they went to the loans manager. That's just a waste of money. Because surely you just go and phone the manager at the clubs and say, how's my boy getting on? So for me, you're needing somebody that's, I would say, older.
An old head. That's just what you're saying.
Experienced. Somebody who knows the game. Somebody who you can't pull the wool over their eyes because they've seen every wee nook and cranny and piss take. And basically, him surround himself with people that can make the full package work.
You hear things like Walter Smith is in the background at Rangers, you know, and if Steven Gerrard needs to pick the phone up, it's a good thing. You can maybe speak to him. I don't know, at Aberdeen, Craig Brown's there, man.
But he's desperate to play, that's the only problem.
That's the issue. That's the only issue.
He keeps wanting to pick himself on the team.
But you know, look at the experience and how he was a top manager. You know, would you lean on that? You know, and that's a great idea.
Same with Ferguson at Man U, you kind of tell him that he just needs to turn up at watch the games with it. I think when Dan Fletcher's in his new role, right, Ferguson, they're going to speak. That's how you gain knowledge.
Go and get somebody like Mo Kamara or something to do it. Ex-player.
100%. Or Tom Boyd.
Andreas Hinkle, Tom Boyd.
Tosh McKinley.
He gets it.
Tosh. Good lad, Tosh. Right.
Steve
Tell me more about Tosh. What was the lad? Come on.
Sonny's got his hat on, isn't he?
I don't shoot it as much as he does.
Correct. Steve Davis signed a new 1-year contract. Great bit of business there.
Absolutely.
Even yesterday, played Thursday night, he still looked fit as
Can I ask you something?
He's a top player, by the way, and I don't know this morning, but in here, any more news in McGregor? Because let's get him.
He's chucking it.
Give him what he wants. Because again, touching on the game, he was excellent. Yeah. So he was. Steve Davis, he's a class act. You can see the way he looks after himself, the way he conducts himself. So
can I ask you something? Aye. 2 centre midfield players. Keep on here.
Didn't put me in his thingy.
No, but you're still a top player, Simon. 2 centre midfield players. I'm going to ask
you. What are you looking at? What was that like for when he said that?
No, I'm not 10.
That's a bit bitchy, wasn't it?
What was that?
That wee look you gave us when he says you're a top player.
That was a wee bit poor for you, Derek.
That's poor, isn't it?
I didn't like that.
Looked after, I brought you on the podcast and
That's the Barry bit in him.
Right, come on, what's your question?
I didn't even know I had a look there.
Bad.
You trying to gang up with you too?
Derek, a lot of people go on, right, and say, how can Steve Davis still be there and Scott Brown maybe coming near the end of a similar age? Two centre midfield players, what's the difference?
Oh, well, everything in terms of like, the sports science that's in place, the diet, everything back in our day.
No, he's saying the difference between Brown and Davis.
Oh, between the two players, I thought because they're still playing at the top level. They're pretty similar in terms of the way they play the game. They like to keep possession. They don't try anything too fancy. Obviously, Scott, through his career, has lent more towards being aggressive. Like kind of, and that sometimes that feeds off in the rest of the players. Steve Davis is more kind of quiet, unassuming, but he leads by example. And from a Celtic point of view, I'll give you an example of that. He was a captain of Celtic. I played against him numerous times. Probably the best Celtic player I've ever played against, Paul McStay. So I look at Steve Davis as like a Paul McStay. Just goes about the game quietly, but efficiently, but does everything with a wee touch of class.
So you think because
Brown just a bit more aggressive. He likes the combative stuff. He likes to get up against people, and that's just him. That's in his DNA. That's his nature. So
see with Davis, you could never have Davis come off a park and any teammates saying you didn't do this today or you didn't do that or that pass was rubbish. Everything's on the point, and I think that's a respect again.
But what's helped Davis massively as well at 35, he's playing in a 3 every week with 2 guys next to him that can run like fuck. Brown's playing in a 2 every week. See if the manager says to me you're playing in a 2 on Saturday,
no
I'd be
thanks.
fucking devastated. See if he says I'm playing in a 3 with 2 guys next to you, I'd be delighted.
Do you think he could
so I
play
think
in a
that's
2?
helped Davis as well.
Hey, Derek, do you think he could play in a 2? Come have him,
he's a top player.
Oh!
Where's that ball? Get that ball. No, in fact, how strong he is by the way.
I'm no strong.
Are you going to do a 50-50?
No,
I'm up for it.
Are you kidding?
What about arm wrestle?
I'm still rough.
Why don't we do a 2-touch competition?
Good.
Aye, magic.
We done a wee keep the ball up the other week, me, him and Frank.
Yeah, how good was
standard with Frank was brilliant.
Frank's different class, so he is.
Amazing. Right.
Do you know his ankle's fused or not?
His ankle's what?
Fused.
How'd you do that?
Well,
chained up.
Fuse it.
Chained to the bed too hard, maybe.
And he still runs about. He still plays in all the games and all that.
So he's 16 out of 40.
He's some man, Frank, isn't he?
Aye.
What do you think he's sitting down right now?
Should we have dogs in it?
He's a real walk with dogs up my guy, up Mud Duck Park.
He'd be on the golf course. You're not loud in the golf.
We're looking for that pussy he lost already. He lost a cat the other week.
Seen that. Right, top 6. We called it. We're geniuses. St Johnstone got ahead.
Fair play, aye.
Superb. They're going top 3 next year. I'm telling you, Aberdeen will hit a slump next year.
I think
I'm telling you, they'll go.
I would agree with you, Simon.
Hibs will no date 2 years in a row. St Johnstone for 3rd next year.
Hibs have got much better players than St Johnstone.
Hibs have got much better players than St Johnstone?
Yeah.
Think?
100%.
Snow is wide a gap, would you think?
I think so.
I tell you, I agree with you. I think at Aberdeen have got to be careful because we've said it earlier. St Mirren, although they've not made the top 6, look at their season they've had. They beat Celtic, they beat Rangers
in
the cup.
Nisbet or me? 1-0 me.
Now, Nisbet will be away in the summer, so Hibs will be weaker. Now, he'll have a great season next year. Another year in the SPL.
Big Rooney up front.
Yeah, who's better?
Nisbet.
Doige or Biff? 2-0 me.
Doige or Biff?
Doige. 2-0? Thanks.
Alright, Hibs back 3 or St Johnstone's back 3? There's 3-2 me.
Can I tell you what, see talking about defending, see some of the defending at the weekend was horrendous.
Porte's headed it back to the goalie, didn't he?
It was poor, wasn't it? That Motherwell's.
That's his mate.
Whose mate is that?
Motherwell's defending.
Motherwell's defending, Kev,
my God,
was
man.
horrendous.
That Ricky Lambert needs to stop watching open goal.
Ali McCann or Gogic?
Gogic did he play, Simon?
He does. He's Hibs sitter.
By the way,
Ali
McCann, good.
Definitely.
He's a football player,
Yeah.
McCann.
Jackson
they're different types of players you're talking about.
Jackson Irvin
The
McCann.
Davis one.
The Australian wild horse.
Gogic is more of that. He's an enforcer,
Yeah.
he's been there. McCann can do a wee bit of everything.
Both,
so
yeah.
he is, aye. Good player, McCann.
But St Mirren, Kev, must be absolutely devastated.
No, did you hear the interview before the game?
I did. I thought
Sorry.
I thought Jim was overconfident.
It was surprising.
I like in a way his confidence that he thinks that his team are going to finish top 6, right? There was no other result, that's what he said, something along those lines. Can he see it else other than us finishing top 6 a day? So that's great because you're breathing, but I think that straight away puts pressure on the situation because you kind of had that feeling after listening to that. I think you come on and spoke straight away after it.
Excellent.
I think it had the ingredients for something to happen. St Johnstone scored 86 minutes and then obviously Aki's equalised in 89. It kind of was written in the stars for me, but St Mirren, I think, over the course of the season have probably deserved to be top 6 because they've done well. But the run that St Johnstone's came on and the level of performance that they've been producing consistently for week in, week out, I think have just edged it because...
Hibs lose their goalie in the summer as well, by the way.
Marciano?
Yeah,
used to get a rest, size 5'2" up.
No chance.
Coming back.
Doig will probably go as well. The left wing back will probably go.
Think so?
Celtic will probably sign him in the summer.
Boyle might go to Rangers.
Didn't they?
Boyle
will be away.
He'll replace
St Johnstone. If St Johnstone keep other players,
he'll replace Kent at Rangers. Remember?
Yeah, you said that, didn't you?
It was a shock.
I don't.
Here, do you know, just love women, but it's where the sun in it, just magic. But
so have you been speaking to Vinny?
You're horny.
Brilliant, man, honestly.
Have you really woke up the
Do you get horny in the sun, Paul?
Absolutely, just amazing. But talking to them,
You ever had the horny hangover?
Kelly, what a result?
brilliant.
There's life in the old dog yet.
Lafferty's made all the difference, hasn't he?
Yes.
You know, and I think I heard the manager talking about, he says every day's a challenge.
Okay.
Try to manage him, but what he's getting you out in the park, you know, is that energy, that quality. I don't know what Kelly was doing in the first goal, right enough.
Who?
You see Kelly in goals, I'm not sure what he was up to. But he's a live wire. And it's about keeping him fit, you know, and but I don't know him. And I mean, obviously, he seems, for the outside looking in, he looks as if he's one of the guys that are absolutely buzzing in the dressing room. You need that type, you know, especially seeing the old backsides fucking twitching a wee bit. You need guys with a wee bit that gallousness, that wee bit of confidence and that wee bit of belief.
He's looking at you like,
I just got a wee...
She laughed twitching, you know.
I
think he's what Kamal needed in this 5 games.
Come on, you look at me, it's quite... Your ass twitching.
I think he's what Kamal needed in these 5 games. I think he'll be like buzzing around the dressing room.
Talisman, yeah. He needed somebody like that. It's a good sign.
Somebody just to try and bring the rest of them together, because Kamal didn't become a bad side overnight. They just got on a horrific run there before when the manager got sacked, and then obviously Tommy's come in and trying to get a kick out of them. But to score 4 goals against Motherwell, albeit Motherwell defensive as well, horrific.
Horrendous.
Shocking.
And that's not the first time this season.
Motherwell have done well, they've turned it around, but when they're bad, isn't it?
Oh, they're really bad.
Is he playing open football, that guy?
I don't know, but it just seems like
they try and play for the back when sometimes they've no got the. Remember I've said before, you need to have the players to play that, and until such times as you get them in, just keep it simple. But I've saw them a couple of times. They've Aki's beat them at 3-0.
Yeah, St Johnstone battered them.
There's been a couple of doings that they've had. So, but they're safe anyway. I don't think they'll be dragged into it.
But even like we're saying, Kyle Lafferty goal record, he's got 2 and 3 yards off him in the box and on the edge of the box. Can't get guys at that time.
They were hopeless defensively.
Will Kelly still go down?
Simon, we said a wee while.
Fearing for my big mate Yogi, that away record. Can I get a win away from him?
I think it's all down to the fixture list. Who gets the more home games than the others? I think, like Derek said earlier, I don't think a lot of teams will fancy going to play Aki's at the Arsenal, and I don't think a lot of people will fancy travelling up to Dingwall. So I think that could be maybe the
could be a key factor, couldn't it?
It could be a key factor, but I honestly don't know, because I just see Hamilton grinding out results like Saturday, still going right to death, getting that point. That point could be the difference come the end of the season. Kamal scoring 4, Ross County, Big Yogi. He talked well after the game. He maybe went on a wee bit too much in his analysis after the game, but
he looked down, didn't he?
Aye, that was a wee bit. He said something along the lines of, I don't want the players to be scared. I don't want them to be scared. And I thought, didn't he say that? You're letting the cat in the bag here.
He says that's the worst performance since he came in.
He says, I see some things on the training ground, but transferring things to the training ground to the part on the Saturdays.
See, with Aki's, speaking about Aki's, they've big Ogumpo. He's been a big miss.
Has he been
Him
decent?
and with Anderson up top,
Right.
with Callahan just behind supporting.
Young boy Callaghan.
Young lad.
The young boy Callahan. But Moyle come on at half time. That's where Rice changed
Like
it.
that for
Changed the
Extra,
shape
changed
as
it,
well.
didn't he?
Aye, changed it, and it had to. Because they were poor. Wasn't like them, and they weren't aggressive enough in terms of getting forward. But aye, he changed it. But see if you can get Ogumpo back fit as well, they'll be. There's a team you don't want to go when you're feeling a bit nervous. You're talking about County.
Were you doing that game Saturday, huh?
I was at that game. Aye.
Do you always get like a pie? See, no, I mean, did you get up to the sort of a pie and above roll that?
You don't get in.
No, you don't, huh?
No, in this day and age, you're not allowed to do anything. You're obviously
Nightmare,
so it's nothing, and where's the best place you get looked after? I tell you, I'll give you one. St Mirren. St Mirren are brilliant. Anytime I've been at St Mirren, you're well looked after. Aye. In the Championship,
Who's stingy, mate, before you go, who doesn't look after you?
Oh, there's quite a few, and I'm not going to mention, right, because I don't want to fall out with Wendy, but it's funny, it's the higher you go, the bigger teams don't tend to look after you as much as the smaller teams. Queen of the South, second to none. Empire Biscuits, nah.
We touch a class and makes a difference, innit?
Aye. See the lower you
For
get
fuck's sake!
What's that he's dropped? Steak pie?
That was just
you get better
Tilly pie.
after.
It's a full steak pie.
Tray of steak.
You get better looked after at the beer
We
clubs.
touch a class, Derek.
Aye, it's magic.
Goes a
They'll welcome you in.
We touch a class, it goes a million miles, doesn't it?
That's aye.
See if you could be one mascot in the SPL, would it be?
Oh,
It's a great question, isn't it?
It's a fantastic question.
Who's the Aki's? What is it?
It was Hammy the aye.
Hamster?
Hammy the hamster, I think, aye. You got hamsters.
We should get an open goal mascot just to sit there, shouldn't we? Just sit in the corner.
Broxy, remember Coisty? Coisty went, or was it the Hearts mascot? Did Coisty know?
But they're shite, the mascots. They don't do their job.
They used to annoy his fans up and that now, but
They don't do their job properly.
because you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to kind of have a carry on. Aye.
Hoopy.
I might ask to be.
I'd love you to be Hoopy.
I'd be unbelievable. I know you can't win defend, but you could still do things on the park. I mean, what about the pitch when the players are warming up? That'd be brilliant.
What would you do to them? Scant them?
Scan them. Steve is just knocking on it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Simon.
Right, Scotland.
Wow.
Meeting up this week, World Cup qualifiers. One of the talking points. Che Adams, by the way. What a coup. Good word, that, isn't it? Coup.
Yes, Simon.
Cool, aye.
He's a good player, by the
Can
way,
I
Che
ask
Adams.
why he's going to be called up from now on?
Not watched enough of him. Have you? What's
Yeah,
your take
like
on
him.
him?
Very good, Derek. I think better option than Dykes for me, if I'm being
What's your
totally honest.
thoughts on...
As a lone striker.
What's your thoughts on the call-up?
Big boy, can hold it up, runs the channels, can score goals. Listen, Kev, see when people say he's been offered, and Scotland are not in a position where they can... That's got to affect you. If you can get the guy a quality of Che Adams, you take him.
Don't get me wrong,
Tell me.
Simon. See, when I saw that he was called up, I thought, my goodness, this is like, we're crying out for maybe a couple of centre-halves, and we're crying out for a striker. And I thought, he's a right good player.
He is, Kev, I'm telling you.
See, he's physically strong.
Yeah.
Got an eye for goal. I was a wee bit disappointed because I think he's been asked to play before and said no. In the past.
That's because he's English, though, eh?
Aye, because he's English, so...
Get an Englishman and an Aussie playing for us up top.
Aye. Are we turning into...
weird,
but at the end of the day...
I know, but see, now that he's chosen Scotland, he's not going to go on the pitch thinking, I still want to play for England. You know what I mean? Now that he's here...
Aye, no, of course. He's got 2 Scottish grandparents, I think it is. So it's not as if he's not got some part of our nature in him. You know what I mean? But
Ireland have done it for years, mate.
oh, I
Guys
just
that
think
didn't know how to play
that I just think it's a welcome addition at a very good time. I just wish he'd maybe been involved in a couple of qualifiers.
Is he quick, powerful, and pacey? Aye.
Powerful.
Because that's what we need as Scotland, because we're going
That's why I
to
think
be
he's a better
backs to the wall, and at times when we're struggling, then that's how we talked about. I think last week, did you talk about Boyd Turnbull not being in the Scotland squad? Is because sometimes it's not what you do with the ball, it's what you do without it. And Scotland at times will not have a lot of the ball, so they're going to have to work your backside off. But when we do get it, at times it will be hitting the channels, won't it? So that's why I think Nisbet's in instead of Shankland. Shankland's a good, for me, a better football player than I don't know about this boy you're talking about, but he's better than the other two, football-wise.
Right.
Wee bit more classy, likes to play, all that sort of stuff. But I think what Stevie Clark recognises, we're going to have to play a certain style, a certain way, and they guys fit the bill. So,
all right. Do you think people in the squad will care about the new guy coming in
Not
Not
a
having
jot.
played it?
He'll not. No.
You're a player, you want as many
They'll
big
care
players
not a
as possible.
jot. They want to
don't
be successful. They want to try and do well in the tournament. Because it puts them in the shop window as well. All the players, that's it at the end of the day. So, they'll love it. And as a midfield player, you know, and if you're saying what he is that good player, that's what you want. So you want
he's a good player.
more better players you've got at your disposal. Of course, aye.
Definitely. Deserved call it for Nisbet, Kevin?
I think so, Simon. I think
1 goal in
Steve
3
Clarke-
months.
I know. Well, I'm saying I think so. I think if you're going to go in his form
only
before
Catalans,
the
the
transfer
Cousins,
window ended, you would think you couldn't really argue. But since the transfer window's ended and he didn't get the move, and then he's kind of been frozen out a wee bit at Hibs. For me, there has to be questions asked, but I can see why he's been given a chance. I think longer term, Nisbet might be a more of a permanent fixture in the Scotland thing. I think once he maybe does get a move and starts performing maybe at a level, same level, he's playing at the top league in Scotland. I just mean that maybe potentially going somewhere different. I think he might get. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
No,
I just think that it's deserving what he's done over the course and distance of the season, possibly.
Yeah.
In terms of recently, he's not been playing. So to justify that.
We'll go to remember what in the personal thing just before Christmas, I think he obviously lost his dad, and then obviously that move, that was a big thing for him. That could have been life-changing.
Yeah.
So that disappointment is... So Jack Ross has done well with him. You know, he just kind of ease him through this period. I like him because he's a guy we talk about second chances. Look where he started.
Yep.
He was at Thistle. He was put out the door because he basically, I don't know, wasn't he living the life, wasn't he behaving himself, and that realisation is kicked in big time. He thought, oh, by the way, I better get my house. I was going to say my house in order, and he's done it. So, and I just like him, and I think he's been managed well at Hibs. I think he'll no go in the summer.
I'd say we were strong defensive midfield.
Aye.
But do we really need 4 or 5 defensive midfielders? Fleck, McLean, McGregor, Jack, and
Well, Derek said earlier,
What kicks in there is we go to, listen, they're the guys that have got us there.
Yeah.
And we know with Steve Clarke, you know, look, when it was at Kilmarnock, the loyalty, and he stands by them. And, you know, sometimes you've got to admire that. But
you said earlier, Derek, with Scotland, we're not going to have a lot of the ball in the qualifiers and stuff like that. In the
But why
Euros.
not?
Well, so
I don't think.
anyway, so say we don't, and we get that one opportunity of a free kick or a corner, whatever. Guys like Turnbull, with the quality they have, you know what I mean? You've got to look at everything. But
Why can we not go dominate games with the players we've got?
I get the feeling that's the way Stevie Clarke will set his side up, that we'll only be kind of...
Do we not dominate, Simon, because we've only got the lack of strikers that we've got? We don't play with two or one out and out, so maybe that's why we're a bit more, I don't know.
England, by the way, I think Scotland can take England, see their defence.
Not having them.
Mate, shaky. Eric Dyer's in squad.
Gaze a wee shaky.
Shaky the arse in it, but no, but yeah, it's shaky.
Eric Dyer, I know.
Oh.
He can get it.
Get at him, aye.
Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire, do you know what I mean?
You just hope they're usual, that arrogance.
Overconfident.
That they only need to turn up, you know, and we playing that. We love being the underdogs.
If I was Scotland, I wouldn't be fearing England. I wouldn't be fearing any of the teams that got them.
Not at all, Kev.
Jack Henry's back in, Paul. Well, no, back in. I think it's his first call. Some comeback for the young man.
I can't believe what I was reading, Simon, about a week ago. He's taking it Belgium. He's been unbelievable there, hasn't he? Unbelievable. Listen, didn't work out for him at Celtic, and you almost thought he wasn't at that level, but my goodness, the boy came back very strongly, Simon.
I tell you, I know he never done well at Celtic. See, when I seen him play for Dundee, he was very good for Dundee.
In what way, Simon?
Could play.
All playing football.
Was he?
Quick. It actually reminded me a wee bit of this. But I'll get
Johnstone.
Johnstone's like a Scottish. No, he's maybe physical as what he should be.
Is he still
I think
contracted?
he can get that, eh? Is he still got a contract at Celtic?
Do you think he would be? Do you think he could be part of the plans in the summer?
It's easy to say if you're doing well in Belgium in front of 2,000 or 3,000 fans of you, but
different style of
the
football,
mentality
innit?
in front of 60,000, which he struggled with, didn't he? Let's be honest.
Maybe that kind of that type of football suits him.
Suits
You're
him,
saying he's a ball playing centre half. You know, he maybe gets that bit of time and he's good at picking a pass out his decision making. So
Scotland team decided it now. Steve Clarke knows he's starting on. It's going to win. You're the only one you would say is the boy Shea Adams. If he's top quality, then he might win. But the team that beat, was it Slovenia? Who did he beat to get to the Euros?
Slovakia.
Serbia. That's the most start, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's almost certain.
Has anyone left their pistol on their ranch this week?
Fantastic, Simon. And a lot of we were talking about it off air, weren't there? There is a lot of cowboys out there who would make an unbelievable cowboy, Simon.
Have you thought anymore? I think Derek would make a good cowboy. We go to in that.
Aye. But it wouldn't be top. It wouldn't be right at the top.
No?
No.
Do you leave your pistol lying about, Derek, or you always got it in your holster?
Nah, it's always tucked away safely.
Good.
Yeah.
Safety catch on.
Yes, aye. Absolutely.
Anyway,
you get to my age, aye.
I think the big man would be a good cowboy.
No chance.
Imagine that poor horse's back.
I would be the horse.
Who else cowboys?
Oh, it's a great question.
McAvenny'd be a good cowboy.
He would be the
Be the best
He'd be the
cowboy,
best.
You would never rely on him though. Wouldn't you know?
Do you think he'd be drunk in was it the saloon?
Aye, he'd always get away.
Marco Negri.
Marco Negri, yeah. He's got the cowboy look.
Aye.
Stuart McCall?
No chance.
No chance.
He'd burn into it.
He would burn.
Lower leagues are back. Leagues 1, League 2 after the
Oh, Simon Ferry's back.
You're back.
We're back, mate. We're back. Back by a win.
Coaching.
Come on, Simon, tell us all about it.
So, were you
Great
given
result, mate.
were you given a free rein? Was your manager sitting in the back?
No. I had to
was-
sit in the stand because I was. But
Oh,
the
were
stand, you're in the front row. You can.
I thought
you're
you were
basically-
given that role. I thought you let you.
Lets
Oh,
me take training
all right. I
Tuesday,
thought,
Thursday. So boys are excellent, mate. Really good.
Were they,
First
aye?
came back for about 9 or 10. They went down to 10 men early
know, but
doors,
sometimes
but they're full time, mate. So
Oof.
What, Airbus full time?
they're just full time,
really?
yeah. And we're part time, obviously. So great result. Mate,
Good
our
to be
form's not
back,
bad, mate. I think we've last 5 games won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1.
Have you not been suspended all the games or no?
The game that lost, I fucked it as well. It was me that got sent
Aye,
off after
mate, I've
50
never seen him
minutes.
so down days after
Aye.
it, mate. You let the boys down.
Did you not appeal for that one, Simon?
He held it, but it got thrown out, Kevin.
It's great to see
Absolutely.
it's genuinely great to see the leagues back though, isn't it?
It's
It'd be
brilliant.
interesting to see what it's like 3-4 weeks down the line, how yous are physically.
Yeah.
You know, because it's going to take its toll. You know, because you've had a wee short, sharp mini, I would imagine, pre-season. But these games, you know, and certainly for the part-timers, you know, it's going to be hard for them.
Because we play
The
Tuesday,
boys.
Saturday,
Aye.
Tuesday.
Did I know that Clyde have only played like 8 games or something?
9, I think Clyde have played. They got beat Saturday. We played Dumbarton and Clyde next to around about us, so got a good wee run of fixtures.
Brilliant, mate.
Dumbarton.
A lot to play for.
I'll see them tomorrow.
The Duff, gives a wee text to how
Aye.
they get on.
I'm looking forward to it.
What do you make of the Celtic and Rangers youth team discussion? Talking about putting them, Kev shaking your head, okay, we'll go to you first. 16 team League 2 they're looking at.
I think the only thing that benefits is the teams might gain a few extra fans. Come to watch the Celtic youth, they might get a wee bit more revenue. But in terms of Celtic and Rangers youth team players, does it really enhance their? I'd rather see them maybe getting loaned to these teams and actually understand what it means to play for a team who's trying to get promoted or trying to stave off rerelegation, where fans are actually giving you a wee bit of a hard time to understand what it actually feels
Pressure.
like to make
Feel like
you
they're a wee bit
pressure,
pressure,
to make you feel. Whereas when you play for Celtic and Rangers reserves or youth team, whatever it is, against Alloa away, and you lose, it doesn't matter. You've still got your 2-year deal, and you're still trying to just hope to get into the Celtic first team. You're no playing for Alloa where you're trying to earn a new deal. You're trying to, you know what I mean? I just don't see how. The only thing that benefits is Celtic and Rangers, because ultimately it gives them a league for the team to
Financially
play in,
for the
and then financially for the
that,
clubs.
for the wee clubs, because you look at Rangers when they were, look at the crowds they took, you know, down the bottom. Yeah, obviously you were involved in that. The other thing with the young players, I love to see them out on loan. I mean, Queen of the South, they've got a couple of them, young boy Maxwell.
Is that the left back? He's good, Derek, isn't he?
Aye, good. But
Boy
Breen
Williamson at Arbroath as well,
centre
yeah.
back, they're getting, that's great experience for them. But also, where I kind of learned, or I was put under pressure playing reserve football with the first team boys, guys like Davy Coopers.
Why is that going, Derek?
I don't know why, because it was a great platform for me to kick on, because if I didn't stand up to the mark, I get told, you know, there and then, and you learn by playing, just watching and being beside certain players. And this is guys like Bobby Russell and all that, Davy Cooper, Derek Johnstone, they were coming back for injury, so we'd play a reserve game. But you don't have that. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just. So I get what you're saying, like all the teams, the young boys, all just playing against lower league opposition. I like that you can also play with first teamers, guys that have been there, done it. That's how you learn, and that's valuable.
If I was just going back to my time when I was at Celtic, I would have absolutely loved if we were a team in the leagues, I'd have absolutely loved it every week because the setup then was an absolute shambles. I mean, they changed the reserve league, which was good. What it was, to an under-20s league, you're turning up playing a 15-year-old. It was absolutely...
Why did they do that?
It was honestly...
Doesn't make any sense.
What they said was, you can bring 3 over 21 players down, and you've got a senior player who's played as many games in the top, and he's playing against a 15-year-old. He's actually embarrassed to try. It doesn't look right. That setup is... I don't know if they still do that side. Do you know if they do? The under-20s... development league type thing.
I think that still goes on, mate.
It is the biggest lot of nonsense I've ever seen. See, when I was at Motherwell, right, it was under-19s, reserves. It was an achievement to get to the reserves. Playing with the reserves, you're playing with older players, and then for the reserves, you made it into that, then you went to the first team. The jump for 20s to the first team is too big. And I just think it's the biggest lot of shambles that they've made of that. I really do. As I said, when I was at Celtic, I'd have loved that if you were playing in a league every week because, as I said, it's a mess. But I don't know if it benefits any of the other clubs, the lower league clubs. I know Guardiola's so big on it. He said, I don't understand why in England they don't have that because in Germany, Spain, they all have the Barca B and Bayern stuff in the lower leagues. But I don't know if it helps the lower league teams at all.
Do you think, Slaney, going back to you, Celtic and Rangers have an abundance of youth in reserves. They've got huge squads, reserves, youths. But then you go out with that, Dundee United, your Hibs, your Aberdeens and that, they might not have that same volume. So it works in England and abroad because they have the volume of players within the squads to make it, the reserves are still a good side of the youth. Whereas up here in Scotland, when you're saying you're playing against a 15-year-old, you're probably playing against a 15-year-old because that reserve team doesn't have enough players to... So I think it works in other countries, but I don't think it works in Scotland. I think Scotland's got to come up with a better solution because if you were 18 and on the periphery of being in the first team and you were getting put in the reserves and playing meaningless games, you'd rather, if you didn't about you chat your manager's door and say, look, Gaffer, I'm in your plans. No the nice son, you need to gain experience. Right, send me on loan. That's how I would see it. That's how I did it.
There's a problem, I think, in itself that a lot of the players are quite happy to be there, get the strip on, maybe not even play. They're quite happy being in the background, and that's what you want. You want to be playing first team football. That's how you gain your experience. So I just love when I see the young guys going out on loan, and they need that.
I watched Kai Kennedy. I watched him for Rangers maybe a year ago playing under 20s, and it was too easy for him. So he'd take people on, but then he wouldn't run back. Now I watch him play for Wraith Rovers against Inverness the other night. The right back's running foot and Kai Kennedy sprinting back.
Why?
Because it's a first team.
Because you've got guys beside him saying,
demanding of
hey,
him.
you young man,
exactly.
You do the other side of the game as well. You're not just here and you're going to do it. So that's a brilliant experience. That's how you learn. You know, and these guys we're all talking about, they're all good players. They've all been coached well, but how do you kick on? You kick on with playing first team games.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you say, I agree. See, going into the lower leagues, okay, you're playing against experienced players if you're the coach team, but where you learn is playing with them.
And
like you say,
do you know something? What I'm going to say, the standard's actually good, isn't it? People sometimes out there think, it's just the usual. It's just lump it. No, I watch quite a lot of the kind of lower league games. There's a lot of good football players in there, and there's a lot of good football played.
Do you know what there is? There's a lot of players that have played SPL. See, if you look at League One, there's loads of players that have played SPL. So put them on loan. Put your team, because sometimes
I turn up at a game and I'll go and you look at the squad and you'll go, my God, what about the quality's in that squad there? So there is a lot of good players played, and a lot of good football played.
Even look at the Lowland League, mate. See, putting your look at East Kilbride, Paul Payton and Kyle Hutton play centre midfield. One's played in the Champions League, one's played for Dundee Scottish Cup finals.
Barry's team, Kelty and all that.
Kelty, exactly, the players that they've got.
Isn't it? Top notch players.
I hate the fact as well with that idea of, say for the Celtic Rangers, they win the league but they don't go up.
But there's no win. Have you seen these Colts team in the cup that they're going to? So they get beat. All the time.
Because you're playing against proper players. Do you know what I mean? Proper men. And it's no. But I remember Gardos saying, he said it benefits the country. So your national team, that's what his point was, that you're getting, sort of almost, you'd imagine Celtic and Rangers have got the best young players in the country. So at some certain age, they're not ready for the first team and they get let go. And whatever reason, there's a number of them that will fall out the game. But Gardola was saying that's why they need to be playing every week. Now, I don't know
But see, when I was a young boy, why did Celtic produce guys like Maloney, McGeady, McManus, Kennedy? They never went and played in a B team in League Two.
Mm-hmm. Not exactly.
So is it needed?
Yeah.
What they had was right good coaches. They got them ready for first team football. They're training with the first team every day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But Celtic have not produced a player since Tierney. Mikey Johnson maybe played 50 odd games here and there, but back in the day we were producing 8 and 9 every 5 years. Even Rangers with the same. Ferguson, Charlie, Adam, Morris, Ross. All went on and played first team football, playing reserve football, getting you ready for first team.
So what do you think? Why is the reason or no?
Because they're not playing these they're doing these big drills for 2 and 3 hours a day, playing under 20 football.
How do you learn? You learn by playing games. So you do. That's it.
The thing is, when you're playing reserve football, you don't want to be playing reserve football too long. Like, it's great as a youth team player going for me at Sunderland, 17s to 19s, and then you're in the 19s, that's when you hoped you broke into the reserves. If you were exceptional, you broke into the reserves at 17. So once you get into the reserves, you basically went from, so you train in this part with the youth team, you moved to the middle part, so reserve stroke, first teamers that won there. And then if you made it in the reserves, you become a regular fixture in reserves, that's when you train with the first team. So your next jump was, I'm either on the periphery or getting in the first team, and then that's why you'd say to the gaffer, or he'd come to you, if he's getting about you, he'd come to you and say, Kevin, you're not just quite there, we're going to send you to loan. I went to loan 4 times. I went to Rochdale, I went to Darlington first, I went to Huddersfield first, Darlington, Darlington, I can't remember, Wolves, and I went to somewhere else, Rochdale. See, I went to Rochdale, right? I was oh fuck, why am I going here? Like, I hated it, but I understood why I was being sent there. First 2 games did all right. Third game, I scored an own goal, and I think another game I got sent over and a really stinker, and the fans started on me, like they were on me. Get back to fucking Sunderland, this, that, and the other. I phoned up Peter Reid and I says, like, Gaffer, I need to come back, it's not working for me. And I went to the manager, Steve Parker, at Watch, like, Steve, it's just not working, I need to go back and start working on my game. When I went back to Sunderland, my head thought was, you need to go back there.
Because you didn't want to
you
go
need
back
to work there, because I don't want to go back there. And it wasn't that I was too good for that, because at that time I wasn't. But I went back to Sunderland and I fucking put my head down.
See the reserves, it was a great...
See some of the best games I had, I don't know if you have been involved in them, like a Thursday afternoon, it would be the reserves against the first team.
Yep.
The reserves always beat.
Reserves won.
Because you were at it, you wanted in that first team, so you were going at it 100 mile an hour. And I tell you what, and they would be played for about, I don't know, 40, 50 minutes, depending on what the manager wanted, but some of the games were brilliant, they were.
But see, the reserves was a great gauge of who was ready for the first team and who wasn't.
Aye, of course it was.
Because you're playing with guys like Paul Lambert, David Fernandez, Stephen Pearson would come down, and if guys like Aidan were standing out, the manager there and then knew, right, he's ready to play first team football. Whereas somebody like Charlie Mulgrew wasn't standing out, so they put Charlie on loan to Dundee United. And that done him the world of good.
Aye.
So I think it's a great gauge of who's ready to go and play first team and who maybe needs to go on loan for a bit.
But that's down to...
Get reserve team football back.
That's
down to your coaches identifying the situation that the players are in. Because there's too many times where players just think, I'll just keep going along. I play for Celtic youth team and I'm on Instagram and I'm 20 years old and I've got a nice wee blondie girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. How many games you played in the first team? Name yet? No. Where are you in 5 years' time?
It's a different game though. See, like youth football, it's actually almost a different game to when you go and play first team. It's completely different, do you know what I mean? So they need to start getting out on loan or playing against proper reserve men.
And it should be made a rule that 3 over 21, 3 first team players need to play every week.
Aye.
See reserve games as well.
That way, it's not the same ones every week. You can rotate it.
Yes.
So they're
I don't
play reserves every week.
I'm thinking back to reserve games. We used to play in front of crowds of 10,000. 10,000.
Derek, see if you got first team players playing in the reserves, you would get the crowds again, I think.
Aye.
I played in front of 40,000
You would?
Because it's good to go
40,000
a midweek and see what's coming through.
Yeah.
You know, and there was always, I'm just talking with all fun, but there was always big crowds in that. So you were at it, you were up for it, and it meant something. I mean, even winning medals. I mean, I won a few reserve leagues medals. I think I've got 2 or 3. You know, and that did it, and it meant something.
Yeah.
But I played a reserve game one night with we played Bolton, and Ivan Campo was centre half. And Peter Reid says to me, he says, Sam Allardyce has phoned. He says, that's his team tonight. He says, that's what you're up against. You might have played my first team, you need to put in a performance. I'm thinking, fucking hell, Ivan Campo.
Real Madrid.
Brilliant.
Scored a hat-trick, so I did.
Did you? And then your manager knows Kevin, he's ready to play first team.
And even like, he said, oh, well played today, son. And I was just a big, skinny young boy, but it meant something. I thought, if I could perform right against somebody like this, I know that I've got the capabilities maybe to take the next step. You need a bit of luck.
Confidence, they'll give you
things
confidence
to go
that you
with,
can
but
play
it gives
against
you
Simon
something
Combo,
to aim for.
Many headers when that hat-trick.
Oh, I don't know. I could probably
But he just came for playing pube balls, so didn't he?
He was heavily involved in the pube wars the night before. Curly is
superb.
ever.
What?
Brilliant chat, that.
I like
good.
stuff like that.
That was honestly
I
really,
just
really...
didn't, like, see, look back at what worked before. See if something's worked. Go back and do that again.
It actually
Barry
changed.
Ferguson playing in the reserves at 16-year-old. Go back to that.
Man, it's crazy.
Playing against men at that. If he's ready to play at that age against men, go and do it.
It actually changed.
And now, what it gives you a gauge, because people look at you in stature, your height and all that, are you able to handle it? Sometimes you're touching on Barry. He never got involved in the physical side in the games because he was cute and clever enough and used his football brain. You know, so there's different ways of handling things like that, games like that. So I had to do a wee bit myself because I was playing at 15 in the reserves. I was took away from my boys' club and put in the reserve team football, and I had to learn quick. Because
it's an education in terms of not just football, it's the physical demands of it.
And being clever enough, because when I was playing my boys' club, you know, obviously going up against 15-year-old boys myself, you know, physically I was all right and I wanted to run with the ball. Couldn't do that. Running against men. I had to get the ball, release it a bit quicker, you know, and just think about, use that thing between your ears a wee bit more.
You never had to play reserves, did you? Straight in the first team?
No, don't know
what he's talking about.
Clue the last 10 minutes. No understood a word you'd have said the last 10 minutes. No, but see, I remember it, and I'm just going to make this quick. When I just signed with Celtic, it was just at that time, that's when they changed it, and I swear to God, I remember everybody going, what the fuck is this meant to be? It was just the biggest lot of nonsense. And as you said, why change things that have been successful, where players have come through? And I love your point about you're playing reserves, the manager can see you're playing against what you said, Ivan Campo and stuff. You're doing it every week, you're like, well, that boy's competing at this level. For example, you said about Charlie Mulgrew, maybe he's not quite there yet, so he can go out and loan. And it's a fantastic point you've made, three of you.
Well done, Si.
Well done, everybody.
Well done, everyone.
It's been a very...
been a very knowledgeable...
It's been a football masterclass today.
But even I played the reserve game at Ibrox, like you said, probably similar to yourself. I think there was 20,000 there. It was me, Massimo Donati, middle of the patch, Paddy McCourt in the hole, up against John Fleck, Stephen Naismith, Alan McGregor in goals.
Bit tasty,
No, but as a kid, you're playing with these guys and playing against these guys. You know what I mean? And that's where you learn the wee tricks of the trade.
If you are one of the experienced players playing in a reserve side, you know you're up against a young buck and you need to be at it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let him run round. So you're up for it. I'm going to give him a wee bit.
Because if you're not playing in the first team, what would you rather? Train every Tuesday or go and play, a game of football against other guys that are in the first teams? 100%. Right, other news, Joe Hart apologised on social media after his social media team thought Spurs had won 3-0 v Zagreb, posted a picture saying job done after a game. Why has Joe Hart got somebody looking after his social media?
There's no way that's a wind up.
You think so?
They've meant that. There's no way. How do you think they've qualified? It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
That's amazing, isn't it? Is he still doing the Head and Shoulders adverts?
I think that's why somebody's on his social media, isn't it? Somebody's just took over his social media so that they don't make mistakes, and obviously...
Is that what you watch the Jets here with?
Well, Lindy's on my social media.
What does he watch it?
What's that one that burns the scalp? What is that one?
Alperson.
It's torture, that. Remember that? The smell of it, man. I remember me and my brother, we get nits from my wee boys, man. I was in the bath.
Did you get nits?
Me and my brother and sister in the bath at the same time. No, my sister, wasn't it? And I love that everything. Oh, fucking hell, man, it's on fire.
When was that last week? Did you get nits?
We went to a summer club one day, right? And we were all busy with our packed lunches and all that. So we were happy. We didn't have a lot of the slaves, right? But we always try to share and all that, right? So we had pieces and jam and all that. Did you want a piece of jam? Everybody. So we're sharing our food together. And we're fucking, so I see these families coming out to get a bit fucking clatty, mate, manky. I mean, didn't have a lot either. So they must have gave us the nits. And on the way back to the train, we're like, fuck's sake, man. Scratching the hair nut. But it was a this time, so I don't know where I'm getting into this, but it was a real tough time for the Slanes at that moment.
You didn't see nits anymore, do you?
No, I don't know.
Kids didn't get nits anymore.
Love that piece and jam.
What?
They're about, that's
what, the nits still about, are they?
Aye, that's, obviously, my wife being a teacher, my wife being a teacher, there's a few cases in schools, and my mother-in-law...
It doesn't mean, hey, doesn't mean you're...
No, it's actually having...
On their case,
obviously, when you're putting nits into pieces and jam, then there's a problem.
I remember the pieces and jam.
Piece and jam.
Would you like raspberry or strawberry?
Oh,
piece jam butter.
Strawberry, but I love a piece.
Jam and butter, mate.
Jam and butter.
We toast.
With It's got to be toast.
What, I'm jamming the
Toast
same
and
time?
jam and butter.
Oh,
No, I'm
God.
telling you.
I used to be
Definitely.
embarrassed, man. I used to get a piece of jam and wee silver tin foil. And see when you're sitting at lunch hall, man, you're taking out everybody's get belt.
Dairy Lee.
Brilliant lunches, mate.
I love Dairy Lee. Did you know like that?
Aye.
Butter and Dairy Lee.
You're talking to your slender
Aye,
about the tinfoil. I've just sent my two boys to school this morning, tinfoiled up with sandwiches.
Oh, man. What they were the days, weren't they, man?
Aye.
Kids now.
Do you know what I used to hate in dinner school for semolina? What the
I
fuck was that? Do you remember it?
Poor man's
you
porridge,
turn
innit?
up.
Did you ever
Aye.
buy the dinner tickets after the boys that got the free
Oh,
dinners?
what is the other, that thing you put in it? And semolina, the
Black pudding.
no, the great looking thing. What's it called? It used to be, it was horrid, man. They used to put it, I used to see it in the school dinners at Ballanert Primary. I'm a Glasgow boy, you know that? You keep thinking I'm not a Glasgow boy.
Remember they used to go to wee dinner lady, but my mum was at dinner lady, but remember the wee dinner lady, I'm going to eat a pot of coleslaw, son. Oh, remember that coleslaw?
Coleslaw.
It's moved on because now I've not been in schools obviously for a long time. We show racism, but you ought to see what they get.
They had the dinners again.
See some of you go into the high schools, they've got Costa coffee and all that.
Have they?
Aye. It's unbelievable. They go and get their lattes and all that.
Society's fucked, eh?
Aye, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's like restaurants they've got in the schools.
Do you understand why we used to hate like ice cream vans come? We'd go to sideward grounds and there'd be three ice cream vans.
Big Bob Malcolm.
Big Bob.
Bob selling
pulling up.
sausage rolls and pies.
I can picture him, can you run it, Kev running out the house, the ice cream van comes. Oh, slap his ass.
Ice cream van comes to my street quite regularly. I run it in the bare feet.
Does an ice cream man come?
Aye.
You're in a estate.
He's even taking contactless now. Mixed slush, mate.
It's changed world, isn't it?
crazy.
Give us a break.
Right, here's a guy I've no time for. I don't know if you like him. Zlatan Ibrahimovic came out of international retirement.
39.
You don't like him?
He needs to grow up, mate. You see all this Zlatan stuff and that.
Zlatan's a legend.
Do you like him?
Oh,
mate?
he's a hero, mate.
He needs to grow up, man.
He's the lion, Simon.
Do you like him?
The lion.
He's a man, isn't
He's
he?
the man.
He's a man that would be, as soon as he gets up in the morning, he'll just stand in front of that mirror, wouldn't he?
I can't believe you don't
Just-
like him, Si.
I don't mind him. I find him quite funny.
Yeah.
Aye. Just it's unbelievable confidence in himself, isn't he? He
confidence,
fancies
brilliant.
himself everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Aye.
Pat's pissing. He's good at it.
What is he?
good, remember
He
he left
does a bit of
America?
acting and all, doesn't he?
Does he?
As well. He does. He's
He's a hero.
taekwondo
Thanks
and
so
all
much.
that.
I
I think he's got a brass neck right enough.
coming out of international retirement. I know, but Sweden are pish, aren't they?
Oh, you're aye.
No, surely he's...
Euro.
He's only the second best Swedish player ever to play it.
Who do you think Larsson's
Aye.
better?
But do you know what I mean? He is a hero at Sweden, so fucking right. Every right, he should run that team as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopeless without him.
Right, that's us done.
Boys, it was very...
Thank you very much, Si.
Aye, that was
It was
Enjoyed
very
it.
motivational.
Very
today, wasn't it?
knowledgeable.
Unbelievable, guys.
Feeling invigorated.
Aye.
Oh, are you? Good. Andy, get yourself fucking
yourself.
back
Mate,
next
better
week.
let him out. Better let him out, wouldn't we?